I certainly don't understand the Supreme Court ruling where they let Trump proceed in any way, shape, or form with respect to this monstrous ballroom and the tearing down of the East Wing. It seems to me there need to be serious repercussions. It's got to be a violation of certainly building permits and the rest of it to tear down the people's house without any approval by anybody. But Supreme Court seems to be willing to let it go on under some circumstances, and I don't understand it. It seems to me the irreparable harm is done with the building, and they could let it sit long enough to make a rational decision about this. But maybe that's just me. Meanwhile, Clarence Thomas, who has no ethics as far as I'm concerned, has sat down for 9.5 hours worth of interviews with the Republican senator from Texas, Ted Cruz. Ted, you'll remember, was perfectly famous for taking his family out of Texas during the COVID epidemic to, I think, a resort in Mexico so they could take a break. And meanwhile, his family could be safe, unlike the rest of Texas. Or maybe that's when their electricity failed. Who remembers? Cruz doesn't care about any of it so long as he protects himself and shoots off his big mouth and accomplishes virtually nothing, if anything. Meanwhile, Trump has threatened to tear down the Kennedy Center, which is in a lot of ways a monument and a legacy for President and Mrs. Kennedy, because he's saying it's falling apart if he doesn't get his way. To think that he would say something like this, and more importantly, do it, is certainly a sign of the depravity of an individual who's at the moment, and I stress at the moment, head of our government. At the same time, he says he's going to rename Lake Ontario Lake America. I have no idea how Lake Ontario got its name, or when, or from whom, or if there are treaties that deal with it. But we're at war. We're at war with Iran. We're at war with China. We're at war with Russia. And Trump is worrying about renaming the Great Lakes, or one of them. Let's see. Meanwhile, he's fiddling around with Natalie Harp 24 hours a day. So I guess as long as he's physically happy, maybe that takes off some of the pressure that he clearly doesn't feel. Meanwhile, on two more, well, I'll cover those in another session in a minute or two.